How's it going, everybody? Rice Bonds, Montana Young here with you again. It's been about a week and a half now since the National is over and I got back from Chicago. And I haven't done a personal recap of how it went, but you may have gathered from my appearances on the Essential Credentials podcast that there were a few big cards that I wanted to go after there that didn't end up happening. So I left without a trophy, and that made me feel like I really wanted to make up for some lost time. So I made a pretty big PC get sometime earlier in the week, and it came in. So I wanted to open this live on camera and basically discover the card with all of you who happen to be watching this. So this came in from Hoboken, New Jersey, I believe. And as you can see through the bubble, it's a PSA slab, and it's very securely packed. So credit to the seller for protecting it in at least 2 layers of bubble wrap. And this is one of the top cards on my want list, but I've kind of been deflated from the national cards wise, so I was hoping maybe this would be a nice pick-me-up. And here it is, the 1998 Finest the Man Refractor. It's in a PSA 10 case. It's out of 75, and I actually didn't know that the back was rainbow refractory, but now I do. And I've always wanted to see the front of this card. I've never seen it before in person, and I thought this was a great opportunity because from scans it just looked about as beautiful as can be. And looking at it now in the harsh, direct light of my room, I like it. It is very pretty. It's in an old flip, only the 90 millionth card submitted, which is, I guess, pretty low in the grand scheme of things, even though I think this is like a 2nd or 3rd generation flip, and then there are 2 or 3 more generations since. Most notably the recent flip with the blue squiggly lines and the lighthouse. But the one thing I wanted to make sure was not a problem on this card was that there's hulking that can afflict these cards, and that usually means that part of the white uniform of the player has sort of turned green and unsightly, and I just don't see that here. So the biggest worry I had was, first, that the peel, the sticker peel, had been removed. I kind of wanted to be the person to remove it myself, just so that I know that the surface hasn't been messed with. There is kind of a trend now of taking car headlight wax to sort of wax out some of the imperfections of these modern shiny cards, but I actually think that's going to do more damage than good. In the short term, it may get you a great grade, but in the long term, you wonder what something that's corrosive like that, that's basically sanding down a card, is going to ultimately do to the card in the long term. Many of you also know that I prefer a slab that protects the card more than it shows it off. So the edges, they do look great, as do the corners, but I would have preferred to have had this actually in a BGS case because they put a penny sleeve inside, and I just believe that it affords better protection for a card over the long term, even if it doesn't appear as beautiful in person when you're looking at it in your own hand. But this card is, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And even though right now I'm still drained from the emotional roller coaster of the National, I feel like this card is going to represent maybe the first step in my comeback back to feeling the way I was feeling about baseball cards, Barry Bonds cards, and 90s inserts. So regardless of how I feel about it, I hope that you've enjoyed having a look at what this looks like. It's one of the top 5 East League cards I feel like you can own of a 90s player, just because of how it looks, just because of how beautiful the card is, how crisp the photograph is. I can't tell if his face is just sort of naturally a green tint, but it's definitely greener than his pigment usually appears on cards. So I wonder if that is a function of hulking or not. I'm gonna have to ask somebody who's a little bit more like well versed and familiar with exactly how these cards are supposed to appear to find out if hulking is occurring on this card or if this is just the way that looks against the rainbow shine of the rest of the card. All right, thanks for watching. Till next time.